Thank you all for coming out this afternoon. Today is a very special day for my colleagues and I, as today is the official launch day for Paramount Network. Just to give you a little background, Spike has been rebranded as the Paramount Network. Paramount Network will be the home of big, cinematic, scripted series such as Yellowstone, starring Kevin Costner, and Waco, starring Michael Shannon and Taylor Kitsch, which premieres next week. The new shows will bring new viewers and attention to the brand, and also bring new viewers and attention to Bellator. There's no doubt this is a great opportunity for Bellator to expand its fan base, and Bellator's growth is certainly a priority to us at Viacom. Bellator is a cornerstone of our network and a franchise that Viacom is proud to have in its portfolio. And what better place to hold the first Bellator on Paramount press conference than here at the legendary Paramount lot. It's on this lot that the term movie star was coined over 100 years ago, and we've got some pretty big stars of our own sitting here at the dais. These fighters here will fight on the Paramount Network Saturday night, January 20th at 9 p.m., taking place at the LA Forum. And what makes this event also special is that there will be two main events, Rory Macdonald versus the champ Douglas Lima, followed by the premiere of Bellator's heavyweight Grand Prix, Chael versus Rampage. The new heavyweight Grand Prix that will crown a heavyweight champion is a huge initiative for the Paramount Network, Bellator, and Viacom. We view this as a year-long series, a special series, a storyline that fans can follow from event to event. As you'll see on Saturday's broadcast and in the arena, we will creatively differentiate the main event card and the Grand Prix in many different ways. We want this creative differentiation to make the heavyweight Grand Prix feel like a separate and unique event to the audience, and that's why it ends the night. And moving forward, all of the Bellator tentpoles in 2018 will end with a Bellator Grand Prix event. Bellator sure has come a long way over the last few years. The franchise is truly a global powerhouse, now seen in over 160 countries, with a global reach of over 1 billion people. With an improved roster and the rise of homegrown talent, 2018 is poised to be the Bellator's biggest year ever. And it all starts with Scott Coker and his amazing team. Coker is the best promoter in the business. His creativity, his passion, and his knowledge of the fight game is truly unparalleled. He's a superstar, and it's my pleasure to hand over the mic to my friend and president of Bellator MMA, Scott Coker.
Thanks, John. Thank you. First of all, I'd like to say thanks to Paramount Network and Viacom for continuing to believe in mixed martial arts. You know, again, I say this over and over every time I get a chance, but in 2005, I believe it was Kevin K that greenlit The Ultimate Fighter that really blew up MMA and became, made it what it is today. And so without that belief of Viacom back in 05, 04, whenever the decision was made, you know, I don't think we would all be here today. You know, and I think the fighters would be, it would look a lot different. I think the promotion would look a lot different. I think that, you know, life as an MMA business would look a lot different. So again, thank you to Bob Backish, thank you to Kevin K, thank you to John Slusser, and thank you to Paramount and Viacom. So we have a couple sponsors to thank. We have our title sponsor, Light Beer from Miller, Monster Energy Drink, Blackheart Rum, AutoZone, and we have a new sponsor we'd like to thank and welcome to the family, and that's Boost Mobile. When I thought about putting this tournament together, you know, people say, well, why did you do it? And really, it was kind of an organic process because we had a couple great heavyweights already in the roster. And then we started adding some heavyweights, and then Rampage came back, and then, you know, Big Country was here, and, you know, Chael said, hey, I want to fight in this tournament if you're going to have it. And it just kind of snowballed. Pretty soon, you know, we had 8 marquee brand names in the heavyweight division, and that's really what made the decision for us to move forward and throw this heavyweight tournament. So, as John said, it's going to be an all-year-long storyline, and I think no one's going to be able to paint a better picture of this tournament than Viacom and Paramount Network. So, it's going to be an exciting year for Bellator on Paramount. When I think about the welterweight division, I've always said this, like, this fight is going to be the 2 best welterweight fighters on the planet. And I think that we have the best welterweight division in any MMA company out there. And if you look at from top to bottom, it is a stacked division. And this is the premiere of the premiere. And when you talk about Rory fighting Lima, I think that gets my, you know, I'm excited about that fight. That's something that I'm going to sit back. I'm just going to watch it and watch it unfold. And I wish good luck to both fighters. lightweight division, Michael Chandler. He's been a staple of Bellator for many years. He is an amazing fighter, and he's been very gracious in helping us promote on CMT. So thank you, Michael. And Yoichi Yamaguchi from Brazil and has roots in Japan. Again, he is a fighter that has been shown to be very dangerous. So this is a dangerous fight, and the winner will advance to the #1 slot to fight for the title sometime in the next 3-4 months. We're going to turn that title around very quickly, barring injury. So it's a great night of fights. Again, I thank all the media for coming out, and I wish all the fighters good luck. Thank you.
So we're going to go ahead and open it for questions. If you guys have a question, please just raise your hand. We'll start in the back with John.
I'd like to start with Mr. Schlusser, please. I know everybody's excited about the rebranding, but just curious, if there's any challenges or the biggest challenge that you see inherent in rebranding and kind of, losing all the reputation that Spike had, and kind of what your immediate expectations are. I mean, could there be a dip in viewership or something like that just to start out with as people find the new brand?
Well, we have been in MMA forever, and obviously we have a lot of people associate Spike with MMA. This is a rebrand. So this is it's on the same place in your dial, and what we're trying to do is avoid confusion. And you're right, that is a challenge that we need everyone's help with, which is to let them know that this is not in some crazy new place. It's the same place. The Paramount Network is a rebrand of Spike. So their DVR will work the same. The logo is different, and obviously we have a big new initiative on our hands. It's very important to Viacom. But for the MMA fans, we are still there, and we're there in force. In fact, we're doing more shows than we've ever done on the Paramount Network. So it's a commitment from Viacom to make the channel that Bellator is on bigger and better than it's ever been before, and introduce new audience to Bellator that we've never had before. So the MMA fans will get what they've always gotten, which is incredible MMA action, and we'll be introducing that to a whole new group and a whole new audience that will be coming for all these incredible new shows.
Thanks, John. If I could please, for Scott, I wanted to ask, a lot's been made of the construction of this card. What's the main event? What's the co-main event? Now I think the terminology is it's a double main event. So I guess can you talk about kind of how you came to the conclusion that that's the way the card should be laid out? And it sounds like from the statement made, every card the rest of the year, this heavyweight Grand Prix will be the final fight of the night, but we don't want to call it necessarily the main event of the night. Is that right?
I mean, look, both these fights deserve to be the main event. So this is a double main event. And, John had already spoken to it earlier. And I think that if you'd like to, to get it explained a little bit in more detail, we can sit down and talk after the press conference.
Sure. And do you have any teasers? It sounds like you said you're going to differentiate a little bit how it's going to look, how it's going to feel. Do either one of you have any teasers of what we can expect to see?
Well, I think it's going to make a lot more sense to you on Saturday when if you're watching the broadcast, you're in the arena, and we hope that you are all in the arena because it's going to be an incredible night. It's going to be a packed house. But it'll make sense to you because what we're doing is we're really creating it's like a show in a show within a show. It's an event within the event. And we're really creatively differentiating these two things in a big, big way. You'll see it on Saturday. I won't give you all the surprises, but I know it'll be a great time, and it'll be a very entertaining night.
All right, thanks, gentlemen. Quickly, if I could, for Chael. I know, Chael, when we spoke to you yesterday, you hadn't yet seen Rampage, and I think we were all curious how he was going to look, as an indication of how prepared he was coming in. Now that you've had a chance to see him, what's your initial impressions, and does it change your mindset or your approach at all?
He's huge. No, I don't know if it changed my mindset, but I'm going to say, Rampage, I agreed to fight you at heavyweight, not super heavyweight. I don't know, man. Rampage at 205 is a tall order. Rampage at 250, I would guess he is. It's a tough night out.
Thanks. And Rampage, I did want to ask you quickly. You said you hadn't weighed yourself in a long time, but I wonder, has anybody asked you to get on a scale, for production or whatever? Do you know at this point what you weigh?
No, I haven't weighed myself in 2 weeks.
Thanks, guys.
Next.
For Michael, I think most people would think that, you'd be going right back into a title shot. You lost the belt in your last fight in kind of controversial way. Why take this fight rather than just waiting for that title shot to come along again?
Why not, man? I'm a fighter. This is what I do. This is what God put me on this earth to do. This is a huge test. This guy across this table over here is the scariest guy in the lightweight division coming up. The scariest fight I could have taken, the toughest fight I could have taken, way tougher than the current so-called champion. So I'm not really in this business to take easy fights. I'm in this business for a short period of time, and that time will come when I take the gloves off for the last time, and I never want to look back and say I didn't take every challenge that I possibly could. I fought one time in the calendar year 2017, so it's time for me to step back in that cage. It's time for me to deliver for the fans, deliver for the people that have supported me for all these years, and I'm excited to go out there and be dominant on Saturday night and then continue to move forward.
Do you expect to win? If you were to win Saturday, you'd get that title shot next?
I don't really want the title shot. I want bigger fights. That man, part-time fighter, does not actually deserve to step into the cage with me because it only brings his status up. I've been a staple here in this division for 10 years now, almost. I think it's about time I start taking bigger fights, calling out bigger names. We'll see. I mean, me and Scott will sit back and we'll talk about it after this fight. He's got his plans. I got what I want in my head, but I'm focused on January 20th, Saturday night, and we'll see what happens.
Could that mean a move up in division possibly as well?
I just want big fights, man. I'm by no means a small lightweight. I know I got the little Patricio Pitsqueak been chirping in my ear for the last couple years, saying mean things since I knocked out his sister, and so 145. We can meet at a catch weight. I can cut some weight, or we can go. I can go up to 170, take some big fights there. We'll see. I mean, I want to be entertaining. I want to take some big fights, and to me, man, I just want to do some big things. And necessarily holding on to that belt isn't necessarily what it means to me to be doing big things. That's not the end all be all. I want big fights. I want eyeballs. I'm excited to be fighting on the Paramount Network, and I'm excited to be on CMT, and I'm excited to do this thing.
Scott, I'm kind of seeing your reaction to what Michael is saying. What are you behind that? Are you okay with a Michael Chandler path that does not include a title shot in the future?
I mean, I think that's something that Michael and I will sit down after the fight, and like I said, he's got a big fight here in a couple of days, and he's gonna have his hands full, and then we'll sit down and we'll talk about it. But what he's saying is, it makes me feel I'm excited about the possibilities of all the great fights ahead for him.
And then just for John, what was the time frame about the decision to flip-flop the main event and make the heavyweight tournament the main event for across the year? When did that all kind of go down and get decided?
It's very soon. We started thinking about, obviously the Grand Prix has been in the works for a long time, but creatively how we lay out the show, which is what this is about, was just, I think it was a week ago. So this is yes, it was quick. It was recent, very recent. So things happen fast, for sure.
Thank you, guys.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. As probably the lone European voice, or maybe not, but in here today, just wanted to ask, first of all, obviously Paramount are rebranding, and the heavyweight tournament is a huge thing for you in 2018, and there's still not a deal, Scott, John, kind of sorted out for the UK to watch this great tournament. Do you have a plan in place so that British viewers or European viewers can see this? After all, you do have a network station owned by Viacom in the UK with Channel 5.
Well, right now you can watch the fights, obviously, on Spike UK. They're not live because the time zone is really difficult. I mean, you'd have to watch it in it'd be either late in the morning and it wouldn't be ideal time. So they hold the shows. And I know that's, let's be honest, people want it live. I get it. You want Bellator live. So do we, but the world and the sun goes around the earth in a certain way, so we can't always make that happen in a good business way.
No planetary excuses, please, John.
So no, the answer is yeah, it's delayed, and we are working on a way to watch it live for people who want to watch it live, but right now, yeah, delayed as a result of the prime time being different in the UK.
But do you envisage it being different this year in terms of what you can actually create in terms of consistency? because it is either retrospective by a week or maybe not live, but even on the night. Because I think there's statistics out there saying there are probably around 500,000 dedicated MMA fans in the UK, and rising to 1 million for a big event. And obviously, with these guys competing, they're always really big events.
Yeah, I know we have a lot of UK fans. There's no question. We get emails and social media all over the place. And we are actively looking at and building that out more, building out that territory more, giving them exactly what they want, because we want to do it. We just have to put the plans in motion and execute. But that is definitely a big priority for us.
Yes,
I'd like to say one thing about that too. When you think about the commitment that Bellator has made to the UK, I mean, it's sizable. I mean, yes, they own Channel 5, they own Spike UK, but we've gone there more than any other territory that we've expanded into, for the last 2 years. And it's going to continue this year. We haven't announced our schedule for 18 to go international, but
could one of the heavyweight fights be there?
Pardon me?
Could one of the heavyweight fights be there?
It's very possible, and you'll have more fights in the UK in 18 than we had in 17, and more in 19. We've laid out this great plan, and we're going to push hard, and we're going to do a lot of fights in your territory.
So when Rampage beats Chael on Saturday night, could you take Rampage to the UK for his next fight?
Well, yeah, I mean, these are all questions that to me, it's let's see how it all unfolds. But the quarterfinals, the semifinals, and the finals, the doors are wide open. So we'll see how it goes.
My cheeky little insert there. I need to ask Chael a question. Chael, obviously you looked very lean, very light on the workout mats yesterday. We know how fast you are. What a great fighting IQ you have, and you're after lots of 10K bonuses, or at least 3 for taking Rampage down. But what if he throws you off a few times, 35 pounds heavier, throws you against the octagon or the cage wall, and you can't get him down? Are we going to see a stand and bang with you?
Yeah, I haven't thought it through that far. I don't really care. I never really made my way in MMA with my power. I used it with technique and toughness, and you could saw me in half or put 50-pound backpack on me. It's not going to change. So I trained really hard. I did everything my coaches asked of me. I'm going to walk out there. When the ref asks me if I'm ready to fight, I will say yes, and I will mean it. And if he's got an answer for it, then God bless him. This isn't rocket science, Gareth. We're not building a piano. It's an ass-whipping contest on Saturday night on Paramount. You're welcome.
For Scott, the last time you did a heavyweight Grand Prix, it was actually an alternate who came in and won. Have there been any announcements, or will there be, regarding any alternates for this Grand Prix?
We haven't announced any alternates yet, but we will at the post-fight press conference. And we're going to start scheduling them in to start competing so they can, get on their way with being ready to be an alternate.
And then for Rory, Rory over here, when you found out about the change in the main event, or now the double main event, did that create any complications for you in terms of negotiating sponsor deals? And what would be your expectation moving forward if they were to pull something like this again to remove you from a main event and, shuffle the deck, so to speak?
I was disappointed. It didn't affect my sponsors or affect me more than that. The day I got the news, I was disappointed. I felt upset, but I just put it out of my mind. I have a job to do, which is going in the cage, fighting, and fighting well. And that's all I can control. So I'm focusing on that, and I'm not even thinking about it anymore. I'm not worried.
And finally for Douglas, the term may be criminally underrated, could be applied to you. We're sitting here talking to most everyone else, but you've been quite quiet. Rory has said that the performances against Paul Daly maybe are the ones that indicate, where he has advantages over you. Do you think that that's a fair indicator? And then what are your thoughts on maybe just, being a bit underrated in this fight?
No, every fight is different, very different from Daly. It was a great win for him, but I'm different. I'm not Paul Daly. I beat him before, even though I didn't finish him, and I was, pretty much beat him in all 3 rounds, where he is the strongest, the stand-up. So, it doesn't really matter for me. I'm just prepared for him. Let's fight. Can't wait.
This question is for Scott, over here in the back. Scott, I was wondering, what sites were you thinking for the final?
We're talking to several venues now, and I'd like to reserve comment until after the first round finishes fighting. We've had offers from Russia to come bring quarterfinal there. We've had offers to bring a fight to Japan. We've had offers, here in the United States to do it in New York or back here in LA. So I'd like to reserve judgment to see who ends up, moving forward, and then we'll make our decision. But it's not going to be hard to find a venue. I think we're going to be well embraced.
In terms of the alternates, Rory told us yesterday that he'd be willing to move up to heavyweight as an alternate. I just want to get your thoughts on that. And Chael, your thoughts as well on that?
If you're asking me about, Rory is an amazing athlete. He's, to me, done so many great things in the sport. And, to move up to heavyweight, could he do it? He probably could do it, but right now the tournament has the competitors it has, and we have a pretty full announcement to make as far as the alternates. But, I think Rory, we have some great fights ahead for Rory. Rory is going to be a very busy man this year. So I think that, after the fight, we'll sit down, we'll talk, but I think he'll be quite busy outside the tournament.
Yeah, you're asking me about Rory coming in at heavyweight. Is that the question? Yeah, I heard old Roro say it, but I never heard one single heavyweight except, it should tell you something about Rory. He said all of their names, and none of them said, well, yeah, come on, let's do it. He's a rough guy. I think if we're really being serious about it, in a worst-case scenario, he's a #1 contender in a couple of days. In a best-case scenario, he's a world champion at 170. I think he's going to stay in his lane at 170. I will tell you a fight, if you want to just have some fun, I would really like to see Rory down the road, but versus Mousasi. I say that just as a fan, but I don't think we'll see him at heavyweight. That's my opinion.
Rory and Douglas, without raking over the coals here, do you feel slightly offended that, I know that, do you feel slightly offended that yours is the title fight and it's not being placed as the main event on Saturday night? Douglas, you're the champion. I should really ask you first.
Not at all. I'm there to fight, just 30 minutes, before. No, it doesn't change for me. My job is to fight, and it doesn't really matter what time it is, So it's a main event now anyway, so it's a double main event. So I guess that's a little better. But end of the day, for me, I'm just there to fight. It doesn't matter what time.
And do you have any change from when we spoke to you yesterday, Rory? I think you said I don't know if you used the word miffed. It's probably not a word you use, but I think you said you felt a bit bummed out when you found out. But with it having soaked in and seeing what the plans are for Paramount and projecting the tournament, have you let it wash over you now, or does it still bother you?
Yeah, like I said, when I got the news, I was bummed out. I was a little bit hurt by it. But in the end of the day, this is their business. These are the moves they have to make to, make their business successful. My business is fighting in a cage, so I'm going to stay in my lane as far as that and just do my job well.
And finally, for Rampage, Chael has been very open about what he plans to do against you. He could be playing a chess match with you, but you've had a message for him with us in the media when he wasn't around about entertaining fights. Have you got a message for him now about what he ought to do on Saturday night?
Well, it's no secret what I'm going to do. Everybody knows that my job is to stay on my feet for as long as it takes for me to knock Chael the fuck out. I can't say fuck, can I? Knock Chael the hell out. Sorry about that. I've been quite honest about, me being a part of MMA. I've always wanted to entertain the fans, but my #1 priority is to win this tournament. I think I can take a step back for trying to entertain the fans for this tournament. I think after I get past Chael, because I'm not stopping, I'm winning this tournament. I think the other fights should be enough entertainment, unless I run into the winner between King Mo and Ryan Bader. Some more wrestlers. that likes the leg hump.
Quentin, I have a question for you. So the whole thing about giving up the ketchup, did you not realize how much sugar is in ketchup before today? Like, how come this all of a sudden came out of the blue?
I don't know what's wrong with me, but I never read any of the stuff on the food I eat. I just eat it. You grow up in America and you just trust the products that you digest and that you use every day. And I just never thought that ketchup was that bad for you. I was like, what the hell is on the tomatoes? And I don't eat a lot of salt. I don't eat a lot of salt. So my whole life I figured, well, I don't eat a lot of salt, and I know I need sodium, so I get it in my ketchup. That was but it's too much, and it was too much sugar, and it's too much because I just put too much ketchup on everything. Something was wrong with me.
Okay, and so how much more invigorated are you now that there is, a title on the line here in the Grand Prix that you can win a belt for this? Does this change your motivation at all?
Oh yeah, you know what? I want to be heavyweight champion now. I'm in this tournament. I get to be heavyweight champion if I win. I want that belt. I got a Pride belt. I got a UFC belt. I want the Bellator belt. Now that I'm in the tournament, why not?
And Chael, for you, same question basically. Does this reinvigorate you, re-inspire you? And you already had that difficult loss with Tito, so I'm just curious how you're feeling about getting re-inspired for this one.
Yeah, I love it. This is the only sport I know how to play. I've never seen a full football game or a basketball game. I'm a fight guy. I retired one time, and Karen, I was so happy for about 2 weeks, and then I was bored. I don't have a lot of friends. I got to go to the gym to see people and socialize, and I love to compete. If I had any resentment towards MMA, it's that we only get 3 matches a year. I grew up as a tournament guy. Every Saturday I'd go with my dad, and we'd find 5 or 6 guys to take on every single weekend. So, yeah, it was a good spot for me. Imagine you're Matt Mitrione, who probably, if Coker was to just do like tradition does, you take 2 of the top guys and throw them in there. Mitrione was likely to be half of that fight. He's 1 fight away from being champion. He gets a phone call, hey, Matt, you got to beat 3 guys to be champion. Or imagine you're me, never even thought about being a heavyweight champion. All of a sudden, you're 3 fights away from being the heavyweight champion. So it's the fairest way to do it. We don't usually do fair in this sport or in life in general. There's a lot of politics involved. But when Coker just takes 8 guys that are all barking at him and says, fine, one guy left standing, I'll give you the belt. There's no way to argue with it.
Thanks.
Yeah, for Goichi, please. Certainly you've had a very impressive run in Bellator so far, but this is a superstar in the organization. I'm curious kind of what this opportunity means to you.
This is the chance of my life. I respect Michael, everything that he did inside Bellator cage, but inside the cage Saturday there's no respect. We're gonna try to kill each other, and me and my team, we are very confident that we can get it, and I truly believe that I can win this fight. I'm ready.
And I'm curious, Michael's done some great things, but he's kind of talking about what comes next and what's on the horizon for him. Do you feel that by any chance he may be looking past you a little bit?
I don't. I'm just here just to fight, and we'll see. We'll see Saturday.
Thank you.
Question for Scott Coker. You have the welterweight championship obviously on the line on Saturday, but going forward, it's a little hazy. I was wondering about the status of Michael Venom Page in 2018 coming back to Bellator.
Yeah, we're expecting Michael to come back sometime in March or April, and I think we're scheduling right now to fight. Either he'll be fighting in the UK for us, or he might fight in the show in San Jose in May. So I think March. I'd say April, May. I think we're going to have him back, and we're going to sit down with him. We're going to keep him busy. I know he wants to box, and he wants to, which is fine for me. I have no problem with that. But he's got to pick up his MMA fights, because we got to keep that guy busy. The guy is a big star, and he's extremely talented. And I like to see him fight in the cage more.
And for Chael Sonnen, you've obviously had grudge matches with Tito and Vanderlei. Now for this one, it's been more reserved with you and Quentin. Has that been easier in terms of your training camp, not feeling like you have to be obligated to put on the big show that you usually do?
No, I mean, I just call it like I see it. I don't talk trash. I talk truth. I mean, Rampage has been a real gentleman. It doesn't have anything to do with it. I mean, this is from a competitive standpoint. We are in a straight line bracket. Everybody understands that architecture, from the NFL to the Olympic Games to the NCAA. He's got to like dreams. I've got to like dreams. He's in the weight class. I'm in the weight class. We're going to fight. And we don't have to. It doesn't have to be that way. I told him very flat, I come from tournaments, and you can forfeit, and I will advance, and you go about your way.
Thank you.
My question is for Scott and John successively. What's the justification for having sorry, some of you guys don't know who's talking. What's the justification for having a middleweight fight a light heavyweight in a heavyweight tournament be the main event above probably the best welterweight title fight in the sport?
Yeah, I think we've already addressed that. If you'd like
Yeah.
to talk about that after, we're more than happy to sit down. But I think we've already addressed that. And listen, we're moving on. And the announcement was made. We made the decision to move forward, and the network did. So, to me, if you have another question other than that, we'll gladly talk about the fighters. You have all these great athletes up here. They've already discussed how they feel about it, and we all talked about this in length. So, to me, it's either the next question or we'll talk about something else.
Whose decision was it?
We can talk about something else later. Thank you. I mean, we've already talked about this. It's. You did. Tell him, Rampage. I don't know.
Question up front?
If you wouldn't mind. It was mine.
Turn the mic on.
It was mine. When I called up Coker and John and I engineered this entire thing, okay, I did tell them if Douglas and Roro want to stick around in the back, I'll happily fight them in the locker room if it makes them feel more appreciated. But as things stand, they're going to clear my office so I can go to work. Thank you.
This question is for Scott. Scott, given the past, you've actually had success with the heavyweight tournament before. Given this one, would you have other tournaments? Like, obviously, you have the welterweight champ there, probably a tournament to create a number one contender, or other tournaments.
Yeah, the answer to that is yes. We're exploring all the options right now as to, maybe hosting different tournaments in 19 and 20. But I definitely think that at some point it will happen.
All right. At this time, we're going to have the fighters. One more question.
For this question is for Scott. So this is a big change for 2018 for Bellator, with Paramount Network now. You have the loss of Jimmy Smith for the commentating team. But since then, you brought on Big John and Jay Glazer. Can you talk maybe a little bit more about in depth in terms of how that negotiations went down and how long in advance were you guys planning this move?
I mean, you want to talk about Jimmy Smith first?
Yeah, well, look, when it comes to Jimmy Smith, he's been with this company for a very long time. He's super talented, passionate. He's great, and we really wish him well. We tried to make it work, as he said. As we said, it's business. We got together, we discussed it, and just couldn't see eye to eye on the deal. But where we are now is we're really excited about it. We have Big John, Jay Glazer, added to our unbelievable group of broadcasters. Bottom line is we're really excited where we are, looking forward to a big Saturday night with this new team. And I think, Big John adds a lot of perspective that we haven't heard before. And, we did sit down with him. We've worked with him. We've done some tests. He's incredible. He's really, really good. So we're excited for you to see that. And I think you'll see that he's great. So we're excited about where we're going for sure.
Great. Thank you, everybody. At this time, we're going to have the fighters go back off to either side of the stage. We'll reset the stage, and then...
wonder about